Hello, welcome back. This is Miniature Mike. For those who've been keeping tabs on this channel for a while, sorry about the big delay in videos. It's been slowing down a little bit lately, just with some busy stuff going on. Out of town last weekend, had a lot of fun. We went to Bryce Canyon National Park, very beautiful, and just been really busy with some other stuff, school, work, family life stuff. It's been great, but I'm excited to get this video out now for you guys because it's been, we all. For example, it's been the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, Clone Wars and all that stuff, and we're going to talk about all the Clone Trooper variants. So that should be pretty fun. For some of the Clone Troopers, I'm not going to spend too much time on them. I'm probably just going to breeze through a few since there's not a whole lot to say. On some of them, there is a lot more to say and it's more interesting. So without further ado, let's just jump in, see what we got, and go from there. So first things first, we got the original Clone Trooper. I chose the Universe card. These guys pop up a lot. You see them in like maybe 5 different packs. 9 cost, 10 HP, 13, 6, and 20. And then Order 66, of course, that tacked on later after Revenge of the Sith. The thing with these guys is you could think of them more as like glass cannons. I mean, they're not great glass cannons, but they don't have HP, they don't have good defense. But they have solid attack and the damage for their cost, so that's kind of what you're working with here. In general, they've mostly kind of fallen behind other characters that you could use. Some characters in Republic have rapport. That can help these guys a little bit, but even then, I think they've still fallen behind just a bit. We're looking at, overall, they're kind of fair. Like I mentioned, kind of bad on the defense side, solid on the offensive side with that nice attack, 20 damage. But they don't have any abilities to speak of, and they are kind of a clean slate when you think about it. You can do whatever you want. There's lots of commanders when it comes to the Republic. You can give these guys all sorts of things, double attack, extra defense, you name it, opportunist. So there's opportunities there to make them better. They can be maybe decent filler to throw in your squad here and there, but like I mentioned, mostly just kind of surpassed by other characters by this point. So not going to spend too much more time on them. There's various different sculpts of these. I think this one that I'm showing right here is my favorite sculpt. I know it's not colored, it's the white one, but I just like the stance. It looks cool, so that's kind of where I come from. So let's move on to the ARF Trooper from Clone Strike. This guy's 18, 40, 16, 10, and 20. One thing you're going to see with some of these Clone Troopers that we're going to go through is they're notorious for having really, really high attack for their cost level. Like for this guy's 18, 10 attack for 18 is crazy on a shooter. So that's pretty cool to see that. And you'll see that kind of as a theme as we go along throughout this, which is fun. This guy's special abilities is grenades 10. At the time was kind of cool, I guess, but for the most part, not really all that great anymore. If he had like grenades 20, or if he did 30 damage base, that'd be really fun, but unfortunately it is what it is. So overall, I think these guys are actually decent. They really are decent, and with all of the commander effects and combinations you can do with the Republic, I think you can find some fun uses for these. They have fallen behind, definitely a bit for sure, from other clones, but they're not bad, especially since they have nice stats to work with. So their survivability, not quite there. I mean, they cost 18. Really all they have going for them is their decent defense, I guess, and just their standard HP, but it's not. It's just whatever. The attack is great, the damage is solid. So the nice thing with these guys is like they have a good shot of like landing their hits, and then you can, with an easy modification, like Opportunist from Yularen or something, you can get it to plus 14, 30 damage, and that's kind of nice. That's really, really cool. So overall, special abilities, not as cool. The versatility, I think, is decent. Having grenades is fine, but the fact that these guys are just like a nice and solid trooper with good attack, and you can mold them in a lot of different ways, I think it makes their versatility fine. And as a clone trooper, I'll give them a 3. So definitely a solid elite trooper. Pretty cool looking sculpts. Like I mentioned, I wish they did 30 damage or something like that. Were a little bit more scary, but even for the time, they're fine, and they hold up. They hold up all right. Not too bad. Let's see what we got next. We got the Clone Trooper Grenadier. As you can see on the Blue Milk score, and just in general, these guys are terrible, and I'm going to tell you why. So they've been, if you're going to do any kind of Grenadier squad at all, you have to use the Gungans, you got to use Tarpals. There's no other reason to do it on the other way. This guy, if you can see his stats, you got the base stats of a Clone Trooper, minus 10 damage. So they cost the same as a Clone Trooper. They do 10 less damage, so you're not doing that punch of 20, which sucks. So you're not going to rely on this guy for the shooting aspect. And then he just has grenades 10, and it's like, whatever. I mean, if you're against an enemy that's not stupid, they're going to try to space that out, mitigate that, and still it's save of 11 for 10. Who cares? Whatever. For the most part, you'll be fine. If it's a bunch of battle droids, maybe that's okay. But overall, these guys are so lackluster. I think if you're going to do a recost on these guys, and maybe when in a future video, I want to try to do a recost on some of the older characters. If you've seen recently, my last video, I think a week ago, was a continuation of my project to try to create a tool that can recost maybe older characters and then use it to recost or make a good cost for new characters. I'm really curious kind of what these guys would turn into, because it's like, 4.36, that kind of sucks. Grenades 10. And, you know, without trying to, like, change the stats and change all his abilities, but part of me wonders is, like, should this guy cost, like, 7 or something like that? I mean, he basically has the exact same abilities as the Bothan Spy, but I don't remember what the Bothan Spy's stats were off the top of my head, but it can't be that far away from this. So, like, bringing it down to an 8 is a little bit more reasonable. Maybe even if you could get it down to a 7, that could be more reasonable, but we'll see. Anyways, I'd say avoid these guys. I'm not going to get into them too much. There is an elite version that is a better shooter, for sure. You can use that aspect more. And the grenades are decent against droids, but they're still not that awesome. So these guys, not good. I'd avoid. So moving on to some Revenge of the Sith pieces. We got the Clone Trooper Gunner, also very disappointing. So we're looking at similar stats to the Clone Troopers as usual, except this guy's got 15 instead of 13, and he still has just 10 damage, like the Grenadier. So this guy's not going to do any shooting. His whole purpose is to do Gunner for mounted weapon stuff. And that's not that great. It really isn't that great for the Republic, and here's why. I think the Republic, let's see here. The Republic just isn't a great mounted weapon team in general. They don't have very many guys that are great for mounted weapon, like industrial repair stuff, gunner stuff. They have the elite clone, not the elite, but the Clone Trooper pilot. That's the guy that you want to use if you're going to do some sort of gunner stuff, and it's much newer. And even though this guy is old, I still feel like it's not very exciting for what you're getting. I think if he was it would be more interesting if he had like industrial repair 10. That'd be a little bit more fun, I guess. But again, with this, avoid it. Not good. You only have like limited options anyway for doing mounted weapon with the Republic, and I just wouldn't use these guys. And across the board, as you can see, compared to other characters, they're really bad. They don't really have anything good going for them other than a decent attack, and all you would use them for anyway is just use Gunner. So, not exciting. Elite Clone Trooper from Universe, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more interesting. I'd say for the most part have been definitely phased out by the Galactic Marine, but the one difference between this and the Galactic Marine is these guys cost 2 cheaper. They are missing Squad Assault, so if there is a reason why maybe you don't want to just use the 13 costed Galactic Marines, maybe you can use some Galactic Marines, maybe mix in a couple of these to try to keep that cost within some level you're shooting for. And the Galactic Marines still get used Squad Assault because these are elite Clone Troopers. Galactic Marines are elite Clone Troopers too. So that's just something to keep in mind. Otherwise, you're looking at just a few upgrades. You got 10 more HP, you got 1 more defense and 2 more attack than a Clone Trooper, all for 2 more cost. It's okay. I think these guys are interesting. They got cool sculpts. I've always liked the kind of like crouch sniping pose. It's kind of fun, but overall, they're not that exciting. The attack again is nice. So like I've said before, Clone Troopers have that extra attack, that slightly higher attack than average, is really helpful to be able to land their shots, and I think that's, you know, something to be noted at least. But otherwise, these guys are just kind of like decent troopers, clean slates. You can do whatever you want with them. You can mix them with whoever you want to. They're just not as interesting as some of the later troopers that actually have some kit going with them, but that's okay. And like I mentioned before, I know I said that their survivability isn't good. It isn't. It's terrible. But if you mix them with Bakara, it becomes great, of course, as we all know. And that's really like I'd only ever see anyone running these with Bakara anyway. I don't think I can think of a great squad without Bakara. I'd use other Clone Troopers if I had to, so not bad. A fun upgrade to the Clone Trooper, but overall I think he definitely is surpassed by the Galactic Marine. If you hear them in the background, apologize. We have our dishwasher running. It's one of those weird ones where you like hook it up to this faucet and it drains out of there too, so it can be a little noisy. So please be patient with that, I guess. So let's move on to what we got now. As we keep going, we're going to see way more interesting clones, and it's going to be a lot more fun. So, Kashyyyk Trooper from Champions of the Force. I really like these Champions of the Force clone troopers. Not that they hold up very well anymore, but the fact that at the time, it was really fun to get like just unique and interesting variations on clone troopers that had just kind of different roles, that paired with different commanders really well. And this is Commander Gree's characters, even though I think Commander Gree's really more geared towards Wookiees, I guess, but they benefit there too. So this guy, we're looking at the standard clone trooper stats, but 10 damage instead, and he's got double and mobile. So that's kind of fun if you're in a situation where he can shoot twice, great. Or if you're in a situation where you want to use that mobility to hit and run, that's nice. Not a lot of damage though, but you can use a lot of ways to up that damage a little bit. I kind of like these guys for the mobility. At the end of the day, they're not like amazing or world beaters or anything like that, but I think they're solid. They're a solid, fun option if you want some mobile shooting. You'll definitely need to, like I mentioned, get these a little bit better. Maybe you get like a Zerka scientist. Maybe use some nice other characters to potentially, add, like I said, opportunist. You could even get, like, if you really wanted to, you could give these guys greater mobile attack instead. That's always easy to do with Rex. So they're kind of fun. I think they're a fun template for doing a hit and run, the mobile shooter type of clone. So overall, I think they're solid. Very fun pieces. The survivability is decent with that mobility. The damage is okay because you get to shoot twice, but still, I definitely want to upgrade that if you put them in a squad. Versatility is quite solid. I think these guys are good, really solid clone troopers. A lot of fun. And key pairings, yeah, with Gree, they're good there, but they go well with a lot of different squads. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, with all of these clone troopers, there's so many Republic Jedi you can mix these with, it's crazy. There's so many Republic commanders, so I'm not going to go into all those. I'll probably make some videos in the future going over, some of the cool squads you could do. Interesting squads. Like I said, there's so many different squads you can do with these and combinations. So that's definitely its own can of worms, which would be good for squad building. But in general, this is kind of what we're looking at for this trooper. And Commander Gree's what he's intended to go with, but I could see some other fun combinations. So the Saleucami Trooper here, oop, did I skip one? No, I didn't. Sometimes my mouse double does it, and then it can like skip 2 slides. So Saleucami Trooper, these guys I think might be the worst clone trooper in the entire game. They look alright, I kind of like the sculpt, the kind of magenta paint job to them and the visor, but they cost 12, and basically it's just a heavy trooper, essentially. The attack is decent though, the max damage, being able to do 30 damage is good, but heavy weapon just, kills their survivability. They have to set up, shoot, they're just terrible synergy, they're not versatile at all. You have to be very careful how to use them, and on Blue Milk these guys are trashed pretty badly, so I think these guys need some sort of way to swap, maybe some way to use some sort of intuition-y type thing where they can kind of set up into a position and then shoot. But unfortunately, they don't have that. And so the only way that I can see them being nice is if you do some sort of like squad where you really soup up this guy's abilities and stats, and then you have Panenka to maybe swap him into position, get a great shot off with somebody, and then he'll probably just die. That's the only thing I can think of. And even then, I wouldn't use these guys. These guys are very similar to the Heavy Clone Trooper, and the Heavy Clone Trooper costs 13 and just has better stats across the board. And it's worth it. Like, they have better defense, they have more attack, they have a little more HP, and overall, like, I think the Saleucami Trooper has really no place in general. So, not much to be said about that one. So let's move on to my personal favorite from Champions of the Force, the Utapau Trooper. I think they look the coolest. I love the helmet. It would be fun if they appropriately named these, because I think these guys are supposed to be 212, like Airborne Troopers or something. I don't know all of my clone squads as I probably should, but they just decided to go with the planet that they were on in Revenge of the Sith, so whatever. We're looking at regular clone trooper stats, but these guys got Sniper and Wall Climber, so they got that nice mobility. Sniper is all right, to be able to kind of help you in some situations and not have to worry about cover and stuff like that. Maybe you can choose different enemies. But then with Commander Cody, who's their intended commander, you do get to have accurate shot, and that's really fun. And the reason I like these is later on you'll see there's the clone trooper with the visor, and he costs 13 and has accurate shot, whereas with this, you mix them with Commander Cody, you give them accurate shot, they're cheaper with accurate shot, you can mix them with other characters to give them mobile attack really easily, and they become just so nice, like just really nice sharpshooters. Again, they're not like crazy or amazing. Like overall, they kind of just fall into the fair category for me. But personally, they're my favorite of the Champions of the Force clones. I really like that wall climbing ability. There's some if you're on a quirky map, you know, where there's a lot of melee characters you're against, you can get into a position where they can't touch you, and you can kind of shoot them a bunch and be super annoying. But you're not going to say that on every map. But wall climber still comes in handy and helps with dealing with difficult terrain and things like that when you're walking. So really fun. I think these guys got solid just versatility about them. And then their abilities do synergize well, where you can kind of set up into certain positions easily and snipe. So I do like that a lot. Blue Milk does not like him as much as the other troopers. I guess that's just my opinion, I suppose. But I don't know, I've always kind of have a soft spot for these ones, and I think they're cool. So that's just me, I guess. Let's see what's next. I think ARF Trooper Sniper. So we got a big jump here. We skip over like, I don't know, 4 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets. Because those sets, the other sets between these were like, you know, Alliance and Empire and Bounty Hunters, things like that. So a bunch of sets skipped. And then now we reintroduce some clones. And these, we're going to start seeing some better clones now. This is from the Clone Wars set. ARF Trooper Sniper, 16, and he has 30, 17, 10, and 20. Really nice stats across the board. Again, amazing like the other ARF Trooper. The 10 attack is really superb for this level of cost. And he has the perfect sniper abilities, accurate, deadeye, and sniper. So this guy just has the ability to kind of nail whoever you want at 30 damage if he's not moving. I really, really like that a lot. And because he's a clone trooper in Order 66, you can do a lot of things to just kind of make this guy more awesome, more scary, more formidable. It's very easy. Lots of commanders can do that. So overall, really good. The hit points are solid. The survivability isn't exactly there, but I do like having 17 defense on this guy. That is nice. The attack is insanely good. The damage is great, especially with Deadeye. And the special abilities, they're great, and they synergize well together, which is great. You have high attack along with all these abilities. You're going to be a nice sniper. And overall, being a sniper, having accurate shot helps the versatility out a bit. But they're not the most versatile, of course. And when it comes to clone troopers, I give them a 4, so I think they're great when it comes to just like clone troopers in general. And they're a solid sniper. So when I say see key pairings, Clone Commander Cody, that's a mistake. I think I might have just messed up when I was editing. They already have, these guys already have accurate shot. They don't need Commander Cody at all. They're much better with other commanders that can really help benefit them. But yeah, fun sniper. They're a little pricey. Each one is approximately $10 on eBay unless you get a good deal. I think usually I have a couple of these guys mixing around every once in a while. They're not too, and I try to not have them for too much. Here's one I actually have with me right now. They're really cool looking guys. Very similar pose to the Elite Clone Trooper, but they're cool. But yeah, I like these guys a lot. So let's see, what do we got next? We got the Clone Trooper on Gelagrub. I love these. I think they're really silly, just these gigantic Felucian slugs, I believe, with these clones just chilling on them, riding them. The thing I like most about these is they cost 24, but they have just like superb stats, and they're just a total blank canvas. So to me, in a lot of ways, they remind me of the Imperial, what is it? The Imperial Sentinel, where he has crazy stats, just bonkers stats, and has like no abilities, except for melee attack on that guy. And so the fun thing is with this, you have these awesome stats, and then you can think, what commanders can I mix them with to just go crazy and do some fun stuff? I thought mixing him potentially with, you know, Skywalker to give him momentum could be a lot of fun. Then you're looking at like, you know, giant slug ramming you for 40 damage. But there's other things you can do, lots of other things you can do to really like soup these guys up and take advantage of the great just base stats you have going on here. So overall, I think for a 24, they got great HP. Survivability's all right. I mean, they're a large base, which kind of stinks. So they're a little bit easier target, but they can squeeze at least. Their attack's good, the damage is good, the special abilities, they don't really have anything going for them. But I think they can be pretty nice and versatile, and I think they are really good in general when it comes to clone troopers. I love the blank stat. I just like the solid stats and then go and do what you want with it. I think it's pretty cool. So lots of fun options with these guys. They're pretty big. They're not too pricey. They're about $10 on eBay a piece. But like I mentioned, I like just having 30 damage. 80 HP, so they got a little bit of tankiness to them, and you can do all sorts of fun stuff to make these guys pretty crazy. So lots of fun. I need to get more of these. So moving on to Galactic Marine. For some reason, I've always had I really like these ones a lot. I actually have one on my table right here. I've gotten a lot recently. Really cool characters. They're basically the alternate Elite Clone Trooper, really, or the upgrade from it. So, like the Elite Clone Troopers, these guys, you need to run them with Commander Pakara. I don't think I'd ever run them without Commander Pakara. It just isn't worth it. They have the same stats as the Elite Clone Trooper, so nice attack, just kind of okay with everything else. But these guys got Squad Assault, so when you have a lot of these together with Super Stealth kind of hanging out, they can get some great attack. They're shooting with 12 attack. That's really high. Like a lot of other clones, the attack is really nice for the cost level these guys go. So overall, I think they're good. The HP's fine. By themselves, the survivability isn't good. But of course, you're going to mix them with Pakara, and that's going to definitely raise that up quite a lot. I think their attack's great. Their damage is just solid, you know, very normal for a 13. I think the abilities are nice overall. I mean, I know it's not like he has all that much, but I think Squad Assault is really good for this guy and can really help him just be very effective at hitting his targets when you're in a group setting. So that being said, I think the synergy's good, versatility's good, and then the Clone Trooper score is just solid. And kind of like some of the other ones we've seen, these guys are about $10 each, so some of these Clone Wars and then Galaxy at War clones can be a little bit pricey, but they're not bad. They're not bad at all, and I think these guys are fun, especially if you mix them with Pakara. Alright, so moving on from the Clone Wars ones, we still got some more Clone Wars. Actually, there's a few more. So this is the Elite Clone Trooper Grenadier. So he's supposed to be the upgrade from the Clone Strike version, but he's not that much different. I mean, you have upgrade of stats, so he has the same stats now as, you know, the Galactic Marine does, for example, or the Elite Clone Trooper, which is the nice attack. So this guy, if you want to use him as a shooting option, that works. But you also have the option to use EMP grenades if you need to on droids, which could be good. I don't think it's something you want to like live and die by. I'd much rather have these guys with, you know, grenades 20 instead. That would make me really excited about using them. And these guys could be okay with Tarpals. Like if you have Tarpals and the enemy has a lot of potentially droids, you can throw grenades twice, maybe activate a lot of those droids. Even if they're not clumped up, that could be okay maybe. But overall, I think these guys are definitely better, more interesting than the original version. Especially EMP helps out a lot. And they can kind of fend for themselves. They can shoot. They can be decent when it comes to that department, and they can benefit from lots of different interesting commander effects as well. So overall, not too terrible. Blue Milk is also very low on them, not as low as the other ones. Personally, I still wouldn't really run them. I'd much rather use Gungans if I'm going to do some sort of grenade squad. But at the same time, I gotta be fair, they're not as bad as the other ones. They're more interesting. So moving on to the Elite, the Heavy Clone Trooper, which is pretty much just better than the Saleucami Trooper. He only costs 1 more, but you're looking at 1 more defense, 2 more attack, and 10 more HP. I think that's enough to warrant using these guys over thinking about the Saleucami Troopers. Again, they do have heavy weapon. That's a really big turnoff. As you can see, you know, Blue Milk hates them. I don't think they're very good personally. They're not very versatile. Anytime you have heavy weapon, you're not very versatile. But at the end of the day, he's just a power shooter. Terrible stats, with the exception of the nice attack, nice damage. So if you can find great ways to, like, you know, maybe soup this guy up, give him double attack, give him some other abilities to up that damage and attack or something like that, putting him in position maybe with, let's see here, Pananka, I think most likely, you could have him swap, get into a great spot, and just go, just, you know, if you have the right commanders, he can just like do some serious work, serious damage. So I think that's kind of where you have to use the Elite, sorry, not the Elite, but the Heavy Clone Troopers. Swap them into position, have lots of great commander effects, and just go to town, and then expect to die probably. So it'll be kind of fun to put a squad together, kind of trying to make the Heavy Clone Trooper good. But we'll see. We'll see what that turns into. Maybe I'll have to release a video about it. Alrighty, let's see. We're at the Star Corps Trooper. I totally didn't realize these were Clone Wars. For some reason, I assumed they were in Galaxy at War. Man, there are so many troopers in Clone Wars set. These guys are awesome. They're so cool. Like, they have just a load of powers that are super helpful and versatile in a lot of different ways. They do cost 15, so they're one of the more pricey troopers by themselves, but they have just great stats to boot to helping them out, basically. So with these, they cost 15, as you can see. They're 30, 15, 9, and 10, 20. So more decent defense, and then the attack's pretty nice. They got advantageous cover, so very easy to get these guys' cover up to 23. That's awesome. Quick reactions, may not use it very often, but it's nice that it's there, so people don't want to get too close, don't want to move around them. Squad firepower is great. You get a lot of these together. If you get a big army of them, then they're going to be doing lots of damage. And they also have pretty okay mobility. So not too slow, but difficult terrain. It's kind of nice that if there's situations arise, these guys can get across it pretty quick. They probably have that because they're on Felucia in episode 3 or something like that. It's probably what's going on. But anyways, overall, their hit points could be a little bit better. I think guys in the 15 range tend to have 40 hit points, but it's not bad. Like 30 is still fine, honestly. It's not too bad, I should say. The survivability is nice. That advantageous cover is really helpful, especially against range enemies. Against enemies that get up too close to them, you know, quick reactions is alright. It's not very directly defensive, but I don't think they're the worst either. I think their attack is awesome. Their damage potential is awesome, especially when squatted up. And they got a great range of special abilities. I don't know if the special abilities necessarily like work together in terms of like, you know, one focused beam of powers, but these are very versatile powers that can do a lot. They're quick. They got firepower. They got great defense. They just got all the stuff that you'd love to have in a Supreme Trooper. And as a result, I gave these guys a 4.5, so not quite my highest score, but almost. These guys are awesome. Really, really, really fun. I think I actually have one sitting around right here. Yeah, these guys are pretty cool. It would be fun if they got more of a direct bonus from Ayla Sakura, but they get double attack, and that's fine. But anyways, Blue Milk would also agree. They gave them an 8.19, which is a really, really good score on Blue Milk. So definitely, in my opinion, one of the best troopers. And as like the other ones, about $10 with these ones. So not too hard to find, really. It's just you gotta wait for it, and sometimes they can be a little bit overpriced, but they're really cool, really, really cool, and it'd be fun to make some fun squads with these. All right, moving on to ARF Trooper time. In my opinion, I think the ARF Troopers are probably just the best clone troopers. They only cost 11. It's not that bad at all. They got nice stats. They got stealth, so because they have stealth, you can get super stealth from Bakara. And even with stealth, with squad cover, if you have a bunch of these guys, it's very easy to move up their defense to 19. And if you don't have Bakara, then if you're in cover and someone's able to shoot you, you have 23 defense. So these guys can get pretty nice defense very easily with the squad cover, which is helpful. And even if someone gets up close to you, you still have squad cover probably to help you out. And they also have recon. Holy crap. So you can get like a squad of 8 of these guys, 6 of these guys. And because they all have recon and probably can see an enemy, you're going to be in a great position to have a better chance at dictating the flow of a round. And the fact that it's not just some like crappy scout or unique character that has recon, like your squad is all going to have recon. I think that is crazy and kind of underrated, so really good. When you're looking at them as a whole, I think they do have, you'll see this in the end, but they definitely have the best score, in my opinion, when it comes to just clone troopers in general. I think they probably are the best troopers. Like, of course, their hit points they're bad. They always are bad for clone trooper, but the survivability range-wise is sensational, especially with the squad cover, the stealth, and then you can probably get some stuff from Bakara. Attack is good, damage is good. I think their abilities are fantastic. Having this combination of abilities on a trooper that costs 11, can't get much better than that. The ability synergy, they work great together. Having stealth, having better defense with stealth, which is a nice little add-on, and then having recon with stealth is great as well for a clone trooper. And because they're a clone trooper, you can do so much to add to them and make them better. So it's very easy, lots of fun. And like you can see for clone trooper score, I think they're exceptional. And yeah, don't know what else to say. Blue Milk would agree too. I mean, if you look at all Blue Milk's rankings, they do have the best score, and I can see why. They're just so good. There's actually 2 ARF Troopers. There's one in this squad, which is, they're cheaper. The Galaxy at War one's not expensive, but then there's one in Dark Times, which is actually a little bit harder to collect. Just a little harder, not too much harder. It's uncommon, and I think they're like $10. So, okay, moving on to ATTE Driver. I think these things are totally useless, but here's kind of my one thing I will say. So they cost 9, and they have solid stats. They have clone trooper stats, but with 16 instead of 13 defense. And then they have ground pilots, so they can make mounted weapon guys a little bit faster. I think this is a huge I think this is ridiculous and a huge miss. It's like, if I'm going to use a mounted weapon guy, I don't want him to just go a little bit faster. I just don't care for that, personally. I'd much rather have a good, like, gunner power, so I think these guys are lame. Super lame. And the fun thing that is good, though, is they cost the same as a clone trooper, but they are objectively better in terms of stats. The problem with them, though, is that they're not a trooper, so there are some commander effects that they are going to miss out on. I don't know of them off the top of my head, but there are lots of commander effects that specify trooper, and they don't get to have any of those commander effects, which is going to suck. So whereas a clone trooper would get to benefit from everything, this guy's a little bit more, like, he does have better stats. He technically brings more to the table than a clone trooper at the same cost, but he is limited, whereas some things aren't going to work. I think more the early commander effects won't work. The later ones will, since later clone commander effects typically just say Order 66. So overall, I don't think they're good. I would never use one, ever at all. It's unfortunate that they got ground pilot +2. I think these guys should have gotten, like, industrial repair. Maybe these guys should have also gotten, like, maybe gunner +10. I don't know, something more interesting. But I guess they decided to make the clone trooper pilot way better than this guy for some reason. So I'm not going to go through the stats too much. Not exciting. However, I will note, like they said, they are better stats than a clone trooper for the same cost. So, clone trooper pilot. I think these guys are sweet. Like I said originally with the clone trooper gunner, it's pretty much between him and the gunner. There aren't a lot of options for mounted weapon with this team. Like, you have the flash speeder, you have the ATRT, which is kind of good. There's the ISP speeder, which I'm really scared about. I don't like the ISP speeder at all. And then you have some fringe options as well. This guy's awesome. He costs 9. He's great survivability. You're looking at, he has 20 hit points, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. And then these guys get evade, which is super great. I don't think any other clone troopers get evade just by default. And they have pilot, so if you mix them with oddball, they can get, I think, grenades 20, which is kind of fun too. And there's there's not very many pilot commander effects actually, but they have that and it's notable. So I think the range survivability is kind of solid, because you're going to keep these guys, behind or nearby your allies with mounted weapons, so they'll get cover easily, then they'll have evade, they'll be harder to hit, just annoying to hit, so I do like that a lot. Their attack, at having 8 attack, is nice. Damage isn't so good, they're limited to 10 damage, but it's okay because their role is to do the gunner ability, and they have gunner +20, so if you mix this guy with, like, even with some sort of mounted weapon that fits decent in Republic, you're looking at, ATRT doing 60 damage. That's so cool. That's really, really nice, and I like that a lot. So if you were going to do any kind of mounted weapon squad with the Republic, you have to use this guy. And so this guy can also be kind of fun, though. Like I said, if you mix him with oddball, oddball can give him grenades 20. He can also mix him with, additionally mix that with tarpals, and this guy will have evade and grenades 20 twice. That's kind of cool. That's actually not bad at all. Kind of fun, kind of a fun concept going on there. But anyways, I'll move on to the next one. So if you're going to do any kind of mounted weapon, this is your one to use, and they have some nice survivability. So clone trooper with night vision. These guys stink. They cost 13, same everything as a clone trooper, but they have accurate shots. You're paying 4 cost for your accurate shot, and for my opinion, I just don't think that's worth it. In this case, it just isn't worth it. Like, for costing 13, you're falling behind with survivability. Your hit points still stink. When you're at 13 instead of 9, I'm not quite as crazy about your attack, but it's still fine. Having accurate shot is good. I can't complain about that. However, I'm not a fan of the fact that I just don't think it's the right cost for these guys. Maybe if they cost 12, just like 1 cheaper, that could be a little bit more interesting. Just a little more interesting. Or even like 11, but I'm still not sure how I feel about these guys, honestly. Well, I take that back. I think I know. I'm not a fan of them. I think they cost too much, but I'm sure there's some combinations and squads out there you could do to make them a little bit better, but not my cup of tea, personally. And if you're going to use some kind of sniper, I'd probably say, like, use the Utapau with a Cody, or just use the ARF Trooper sniper, or just use Commando Zev. Clone Commander Zev he's not a trooper. He's not a trooper, but he's probably one of the best snipers in the whole team. Let's move on to more interesting ones. Clone Trooper with repeating blaster. This guy's crazy. So costs 23. This guy's got the same stats as an elite trooper, an elite clone trooper, with the solid attack, you know, damage 20. But this guy's gimmick, he's got quad attack. So the funny thing with him is he's so easy to get shot, so easy to die. But if you get the opportunity, he can launch 4 attacks. You can mix him with some nice commander effects as well. I think this guy goes so good with Captain Rex. You have to run this with Captain Rex, because you can give these guys greater mobile attack, so they can use this mobility to like jump in, jump out, unload 4 attacks. I think these guys are fantastic with Clone Commander Cody, because Clone Commander Cody, actually not Clone Commander, just Commander Cody. Commander Cody gives flurry and he gives deadly attack. And anytime you have a lot of attacks, I think deadly attack can be actually really, really cool. If you do quad with deadly attack, your chance of hitting a critical hit in one turn is like, I think it's like 1 in 3, which is really high compared to pretty much most other situations. So I really like that a lot. But then you have to keep in mind that these guys cost a bit. They cost 23. So for other characters that cost 23, this guy's fallen behind like crazy in the survivability department, you know. They're absolute just glass cannons. But the max damage is really nice. They still have good attack at this level. Their special ability, it is pretty great. I think they're very versatile with the attack. Being able to shoot 4 times, that helps a lot. And I think they're awesome. So I give these guys a 4.5. Especially like if you mix them with someone where it's like Captain Rex and Yularen, or Captain Rex and you know, someone that can give extra attack or something. Captain Rex and Commander Cody. There's just so many fun combinations. Like there's so many ways to make them better, but I think putting him with Captain Rex is kind of the main go-to, I'd say. Right, 501st Clone Trooper from Galaxy at War. So this is also 13. It's interesting how a lot of the elite troopers are 13, where you have like the Galactic Marines at 13, Star Corps at 15. But let's see what else was 13. The Visor one is at 13 as well, so got a few levels coming in at 13. I think the 501st Clone Trooper is not bad at all. I think it's pretty good overall. Like, which you can see, my overall ranking was really good. These guys don't excite me quite as much as some of the other guys that we just went over, especially like, you know, the ARF Trooper, Star Corps Trooper. But I do think they bring some nice stuff to the table. So these guys, it's kind of funny. So they cost the same as... That's probably why. So these guys, they cost the same as a Galactic Marine. And the Galactic Marine is 13 as well. And these guys cost the same, but they have double attack. The Galactic Marine doesn't. I think really what's going on here is the fact that the Galactic Marine very easily gets super stealth. Probably puts them into kind of like a different league. I think they're probably maybe factoring that cost into play, or maybe, which is probably the truth, Wizards was just not that great at costing these things in the first place. So something to kind of keep in note. Because they have double attack and they are 501st guys, they're really meant to be, I'd say, they're better with Commander Rex. Being able to do Squad Assault with greater mobile attack and double is really good. You can jump in and out, 12 attack twice. So I think that's kind of the main solid pairing. Otherwise, I don't think I'd really use them if I wasn't using Rex. I don't know if I'd really use these guys as much. I'd probably use some of the other troopers instead if I'm going to go with more like generic commanders or not a specific one. But overall, like, they're for 13, survivability isn't there, but they got nice attack, especially Squad Assault coming into play. Lots of max damage, good abilities, like really great abilities actually, that do pair well together, and they're very versatile with the just, you know, solid stats, double attack, and then if you mix them with Rex, then I think all that just kind of goes through the roof. So overall, I haven't really used these guys that much, but I can see the potential with Rex, of course. So let's move on now to the 501st Legion Clone Trooper. So 501st Legion Clone Trooper, we got, it costs 8, and this is the funny thing. This is kind of a Clone Trooper in general replacement, because this costs 1 less than a Clone Trooper. He trades 1 attack for 1 defense, which is okay, because he has Squad Assault, it kind of makes up for it even better. But he has Squad Assault, so I think because this guy exists, I just wouldn't use a Clone Trooper anymore, because you get more with the 501st Legion Clone Trooper than you do with the other guy, the original one, and he's a little cheaper, and it's just better. So this is just kind of, let's say, the supreme replacement, basically. So these guys, I think they're good. Again, the HP and survivability really isn't there either, but it's a teeny bit better with the 14 defense, I guess. The attack's really good. The damage is good. The special abilities really good as well. Being able to be this cheap with Squad Assault, doing 9, potentially 9 attack at cost 8. It's really easy to do that, and that's pretty crazy. So the versatility is just fair. But when it comes to Clone Troopers, I give them a 3.5 because for the cost, this is pretty good for an 8 character. And then if you put them with Commander Cody, they are Clone Trooper, so therefore they should go down to 7, and they could be even cheaper potentially. So definitely like these guys. They definitely replace the OG Clone Trooper, and they're really better in every way. Okay, so we made it through all of them. If you probably paid attention, we didn't do the Clone Trooper, the non-unique Clone Trooper commanders. If you're interested, or if you make a comment about it, I'll probably make a video about it in the future, because you have like the Aerial Clone Trooper Commander, the 501st, the Sergeant. You have a few different options in there for non-unique Clone Trooper commanders, but I didn't want to do them as well because it would just be super, super long, like so many characters to go through, and it already kind of took a while to put this one together. And then I did not include the Bark Speeder. I'm going to do a different video on Speeder and Strafe Attack characters. So I decided not to include the Bark Speeder or the other, just Speeder in general. So you'll notice that those are gone. But we're going to go through the final rankings. So let's see what's in last place. So the Saleucami Trooper sucks. Not good. The Clone Trooper Grenadier, also not very good at all. Clone Trooper Gunner, yeah, no good. Heavy Clone Trooper, a little bit better than the Saleucami Trooper, but still really held back by heavy weapon. Let's see here. So Clone Trooper with night vision. It is nice that they have accurate shot and solid stats. Well, not really solid stats. They have Clone Trooper stats, but they have accurate shots. So that is not terrible, but not a fan of them. The ATT driver, very disappointing as well, 2.1. Clone Trooper, the base Clone Trooper, I think is fine. It's a nice just kind of canvas to use it as kind of fodder. You get that 9 cost, 20 damage, 6 attack. Again, I probably wouldn't use them in very many squads, but they could be a nice little filler if you're doing like other specific squads with clones. Elite Clone Trooper Grenadier, a little bit better. Definitely better than the original one. It is fun to have EMP grenades, and they can kind of fend for themselves. But I wish they did 20 damage. I wish they had grenades 20. That'd be more fun, but it is what it is. Elite Clone Trooper, so a little bit better. Still kind of held back because it's a little older. Was missing some of the pizzazz of some of the newer clones. The Utapau Trooper is solid. Kashyyyk Trooper and Utapau come at the exact same score. Definitely a solid trooper option. They're both fun in their own ways. One's kind of a mobile hit-and-run shooter. Doesn't do a whole lot of attack or damage, I should say. The other one is a little more vulnerable, but has some fun sniping and mobility characteristics with Wall Climber. I like him. ARF Trooper, very nice for just being a solid, just solid stats. Solid stats for what he costs, and you can add to it pretty well. 501st Legion Clone Trooper, so this one's better than the original one. It's still not like the craziest, coolest thing in the world, but if you want like a more grunt trooper, definitely use the 501st Trooper. They don't cost as much, they cost 8, and they're just better. So, Clone Trooper on Gelagrub, a lot of fun. You're looking at just great stats, and then kind of blank canvas from there. Galactic Marine a little bit better, very solid. The Galactic Marine's a little funny because he does cost 13, but there are a couple of troopers similar to him in cost and aren't as good. I think this guy really is just, put him with Bakara and he becomes a fun shooter. 501st Clone Trooper, very solid, double attack, goes well with Rex. Clone Trooper Pilot, really nice. I love the Evade and Gunner 20. And then you're looking at Clone Trooper with Repeating Blaster, lots of fun with that quad attack. You can do some great things with it, especially if you do it with Commander Rex. Or, yeah, Captain Rex. ARF Trooper Sniper, I think these guys are, they're one of the older clones, even though they're from Clone Wars. But they're really good. I think they got nice stats, and they got great sniping ability. Star Corps Trooper, fantastic versatility, lots of fun stuff in their toolkit. And then finally, ARF Trooper. So ARF Trooper is the 4.03. I think they're the best trooper. I really do. Being able to have recon, stealth is just fantastic. Alright, so I have 2 different ones here. Feel free if you want to look at this chart more in depth. I'm going to pause it, or just pause it on your end and then just take a look. Across the board, you can see the survivability is terrible, but attack, for the most part, at their respective cost, pretty much every Clone Trooper is going to have abnormally good attack. So I like that they'll have the ability to be able to essentially kind of hit their targets more accurately than other characters will. So that is fun, kind of baked in thing you're going to see with these. But overall, there's a bunch of different varieties. I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but I put the specialties down below, the approximate eBay cost down below as well. All of them are pretty cheap for the most part. You're just looking at, oh no, how did that happen? That's funny. So when it comes to the yeah, when it comes to the secondary one right here, I'm missing the cost. That's the bummer. I'm missing the eBay cost on this. So if you want to know eBay costs, just go back through the video and take a look. That's just the error on my end. So I have both of these. So anyways, I'll leave it here for a few seconds if you want. Pause it if you want to take a closer look at the kind of my final matrix on all these things. But as you can see, got great attack going on here. And some of these other ones, the Star Corps, the ARF, Clone Trooper Pilot, Repeating Blaster, 501st, and then let's see what else was there. The ARF Trooper Sniper. I'd say those are your go-tos. And then the Galactic Marine's really nice. Got to use them with Bakara, and then the Clone Trooper on Gelagrub. Pretty fun too. I think it's really fun to have that kind of intense stats, like I've already said 100 times, but pretty cool. All right, well, I think that's it. Thanks if you were able to. Appreciate you guys staying on this video for so long. Lots of guys to go through. We already took 45 minutes like I do with some of the other ones. But all I'll say is please like, please subscribe. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on all these clone troopers. What do you think? Which ones are your favorite? What are some fun squad ideas you have? What are some other characters you'd want me to go through and talk about? But all that being said, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you next time.